This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to call to order the regular August 5th, 2024 council meeting to order at 7 p.m. I'll rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. And any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda tonight.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Norman?
Aye.
Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Councilor Wagner?
Aye.
Councilor Ash?
Aye.
Councilor Webb?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any presentations tonight? None. I do not have a mayor's report other than it looked like we had a very successful jamboree. I've never seen so many vendors in Spencer Park as I did this year, but I talked to Robbie last night and he assured me that there will be more next year. I don't know how that's going to happen, but looked like everyone had a really good time. And so it's a good weekend. Any councilor committee meeting reports tonight? Nope. Okay, I don't have one either. So any topics from the floor, Stephanie?
I have one.
Okay.
It is from Gordon and Scott regarding a parks grant request.
And what? I'm Gordon Jarman, as some of you may know, retired athletic director at the high school and middle school district. Before I retired, I asked Aaron if I could do a fundraiser to help build a covered stadium. He gave us the okay. So in 2020, we started the fundraising process to build a covered stadium at the high school. As you know, we've lost Greenman Field, Greenman Stadium. That was built way back before my time. Maybe some of you were here then, but probably not. And it was built mostly by volunteers. Okay, wood structure. What we're looking at is a metal structure that will last. We're in the process of raising funds for this. We broke this project into 3 phases. Okay, phase 1 is completed. We've raised over $650,000 since 2020 when we started this project, and it's through donations, through other grants, through in-kind donation, in-kind work donations, like Mr. Electric did the electrical work on our concession restroom. If you haven't seen that building, probably should go down and take a look at it. 5-star builders did a fantastic job on that. It's all cedar siding, metal roof. It's got a nice area for you to step up and be out of the rain to eat your burger or buy whatever you want from the concession stand. Plus it's got it's got flush toilets. We don't have porta potty. We're not going to be dependent on porta potties. Now, we're working through a couple of bugs on that where the school district is. We turned that building over to the school district end of football season last year. Okay, but back to the topic at hand. We are trying to raise money, not funny. We're trying to raise money to complete this project by 2026. We have $270,000 plus right now in cash with the Vernonia boosters. Our goal is $500,000 by the end of December. Next, let's see, by 2026, this is when we're going to be on the docket to get this building or this facility put up. Build a covered stadium, something that the community can be proud of. And it's not just the three of us. We have a committee, mostly community members. Tony Hyde as the advisor, former, county commissioner. We have Jim Eklund, the former, worked very hard on getting the fields ready and built. Kathy Eklund, Darlene McLeod. There are several community members, named Jan Bernardi, majority of the people, and they're not, the rest of them are not, well, Scott and Wyatt, all community members here. This is a community project. It's for the benefit of the community. And what we're here is to seek a grant, Parks grant, to help finish the money we need for this project, for this community project. So with that, we're gonna have Scott talk about some of the grants we already have and where we've been with that. So Scott.
So we've partnered with the Vernonia Boosters to be the nonprofit part of this. So we're operating as a nonprofit to raise the money. The Boosters run the snack shack, the concession stand, so they've benefited from that. We've applied for and received a Ford Family Foundation grant already, and we'll be able to apply for another one coming up because we use that towards the concession stand. We need to raise about $1 million to build this covered stadium, covered seating. And so we've contracted with an organization, a fundraising organization in Portland that helps organizations find grant opportunities. And one of the ones that they suggested that we apply for is the Oregon Parks and Rec local government grants. We've been through these several different times. Josette and I have worked on them together a couple of times. She's been successful in a couple other ones. We weren't so successful in others, but they're good opportunities for us. And we've spoken sort of on the side with Josette, and she's interested in exploring the possibility and seeing whether it's something that she thinks we could do an application for. So maybe when we get done, if you have some questions for her, she could talk a little bit more about the details of how that works. This is it's a little bit of a funny project because it's on the school property, but it benefits the boosters and it benefits the rest of the community. And, frankly, it is hard to find grants for this kind of money. We're trying to continue to raise the money locally so that we have a match that we can put towards a significant grant application. And there's a few other things that we're exploring, but this is one that we'd like to try to explore. And so we're kind of looking for your approval to have Josette kind of explore it and see whether it's something that she thinks would make sense for the city. So. Did you have anything with
I'll just hear his report.
Okay.
All right.
And I don't know if you guys have any questions for us.
Yeah. Sorry. Have some questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Now this is,
So what was the name of the Oregon State Parks?
It's the OPRD grant.
OPRD, yeah, okay.
okay.
So thank you very much. We don't make any decisions.
Right, exactly.
Of course, you know that, but I'm sure there's something that we'll look into.
Just wanted to get it in front of you guys.
Yep.
And Josette can talk to you more about what she wants to do.
Sure.
All right.
I have questions, but I'm not sure at this point it's exactly my prerogative to ask. So I may send a message through Josette.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for all your work on
Thank
this.
you.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't required to stay for the rest of the day. You're welcome to stay.
But don't feel held hostage.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, consent agenda for acceptance, consent agenda for approval, city council meeting minutes for July 15th, 2024, city council meeting minutes for July 22nd, 2024, and city council meeting minutes for July 25th, 2024. Any discussion or questions on those 3 meeting minutes?
I move to accept the consent agenda for approval.
So moved.
Oh, second?
And seconded by Counselor Ash.
Counselor Webb?
Aye.
Counselor Ash?
Aye.
Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Counselor Wagner? Counselor Normand?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Any unfinished business tonight? Moving right into new business, staff report, committee liaison assignments. Page 6.
Okay, what we have before you is a staff report from me for the request of council regarding city committee liaison assignments. It breaks down who is assigned to what committee and when they meet. There was interest or request from Counselor Wagner to have a reassignment for the library board due to difficulties in attending the meetings on a regular basis. So what you have before you is up for your guys' discussion and decision. The last time that council assignments were set was in January 2023.
Sorry.
Just a quick
Go ahead,
question, clarification, library board monthly or every other month? Because they announced during the discussion we had that they're meeting every other month, which, again, just clarifying for whoever decides they would like to be that person.
You no longer wish to be LA.
One of them,
That's why I
Donna,
asked if he reassigned, and I asked if he.
I think Donna said it at the meeting.
And
They're either not meeting or they're,
So they weren't meeting during the summer.
yeah,
I'll have to reach out.
yeah, so check.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some change with the,
they said every other month, but then they held meetings.
Oh.
And then had a meeting they
well, and that,
advised me of.
I can make sure that Brandy, whoever takes that committee, that she's keeping that person in the loop.
Okay. Are there any other counselors that are interested in serving on the library board?
I'm happy where I'm at.
Okay. Dale?
It would be awkward for me.
Okay.
I saw it.
I'll be the guinea pig.
Okay. Great. I served on it for a couple of years and it's a neat little group.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right.
Can I move into airport? Because that really has been my passion. And it was prior to library. Donald kept
Sure.
airport.
I don't see any problem with it.
I'll notify Brandy and the secretary that you have a new assignment.
Okay.
Unless you want to keep that also.
No biggie to me because they only maybe meet once a year, so.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. B, staff report, council meeting time, page 7.
Once again, this is a report brought to you by me for the direction of you. You want me to read it?
Don't have to. Has everyone read it?
Yeah, I've read it.
I'll start personally. I don't mind meeting a half an hour earlier, 6:30. I don't really want to meet at 6. It's kind of my dinner hour. But,
6
well,
would be my choice as well.
6:30.
And that seems to be when most of the other committees meet
Yeah.
too, so it kind of just streamlines a little.
I don't have a problem with it. Donald?
7 usually works best for me, but
Okay.
I'll just have to speed it up, I guess.
Eat the
Well-
tacos faster.
Well, for me, I don't get dinner until after our meetings, which makes it pretty late. So, which was why my preference would be 6. It's when school board meets also. And I do come a distance. It's a lot of wasted time for me to get home at 10 to 6 and then be home for 20 minutes or 25 minutes and then come in. But I will do what is the preference of the entire council.
So, yeah, I'm with the mayor. We still have a traditional dinner hour at my household. Sit back and watch the news, but yeah, I'm, the one concern I have is also citizens that come from out of town. They're going to be pushing to get here at 6. So to go any earlier, I think really makes it rough for them. Yeah, I don't know how we do. I don't know how staff does their, I mean, you guys can be out of here at 5. I don't know what you do on meeting nights, if you have
Don't
something
eat.
in a crock pot or something quick that you eat and then you come back, or
There's no eating before, is there? Do you eat before?
I'm here at 6:30.
Yeah, we don't eat
you
before.
don't eat before.
Occasionally I do if I have an act together, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the moons are
For the
aligned.
most part, it still needs 15 more minutes by the time we're coming down.
Take it off in 15.
Yeah.
I don't think this time set should be totally at the council or staff's convenience. I think we're here to represent the city, and the council meetings have been 7 o'clock forever and ever and ever. And so, you know, maybe some other people that want to attend the council meeting, maybe it'd be difficult for them to make 6 o'clock. But I am willing to, I could move it ahead half an hour. I think that's, you know, we have a lot of our workshops 6:30, so.
There's a broad range among cities of when they meet. Some meet midday, some meet at 5, some meet at 4, some meet, 7's kind of the latest I've even heard of people meeting.
Yeah.
So, and it's not, again, it's not set in stone. So if people are rushing in here miraculously half an hour after our meeting starts and it's becoming a thing where it's clear that it's not working for the citizens that like to come to our meetings, then
Change it back.
we can change it back.
Yeah.
It's not in
Give
an
it-
ordinance or anything.
Give it a trial run.
Yeah, I think it feels like a good compromise because if people are working out of town till 5, it gives them that hour and a half to deal with traffic to get home if they're trying to come in. But it's not as late. Because then the other side of that is if people are coming to present or, from the county, from out of town, especially in the winter, we're getting out late. It's dark.
Yeah.
Icy. So I think it's a good improvement.
So general consensus for 6:30?
I would favor that if we're going to make a change.
6:30 it is.
But she needs a motion, I think.
Yep.
I'll move to change the city council bi-monthly meetings to 6:30 start time.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Council Webb.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Wagner,
I don't have an option of, it's a, an I.
Counselor Norman,
Aye.
Counselor Ash,
Aye.
Counselor Webb,
All right.
motion carried.
Thank you. Business from the departments. Sergeant. Man.
Councils, Mayor. So if you look in your packet on the staff report, you see that our total numbers of total number of calls of service, and this is for June, because we're always usually a month behind, because CCOM has to tally up the numbers there, but it's up a little bit. May was 141 calls for service, so we're heading in the right direction. We assisted, or OSP, the mobile response team, assisted us during Jamboree. They sent up 6 troopers and 1 fish and game guy. Their stats, they did a total between Friday night and Saturday night. They did 93 traffic stops. 31 of those were for speed, 16 were for seat belts, 11 for lane change usage. So it's like fail to use your turn signal, fail to maintain your lane of travel, that kind of stuff. And then the rest were for like registration, no front plates, expired tags, that kind of thing. There were 25 traffic citations issued and 105 warnings given. 3 people were cited for driving while suspended. 1 was arrested for driving while suspended. And then the fish and game guy, he went out to the lake and contacted 3 people and wrote 1 citation for no license, fishing with no license. So they play a pretty big part in the Jamboree because it allows us my staff, to get out there and walk and observe all the crimes and violations that are in the pedestrian areas. So we did 17 premise checks, and that means we go out at a location like Spencer Park. We really don't keep track of how long we're there. But we also did 6 traffic stops, and they were warnings. We took 2 incomplete 911 calls, 1 alarm, a cold theft, an abandoned vehicle, a stolen vehicle. We responded to an accident, which was non-injury, and a disturbance. And then the gentleman in the white Ford pickup that was in the parade did receive a careless driving ticket for doing a burnout right in front of Adams Avenue. So those stats are actually down a little bit from 2023, the OSP stats, because in 2023, they did 121 traffic stops, had 3 DUI arrests. This year, I asked them to put down a little bit more than they did last year. So I don't have anything from last year to compare other than we didn't have any DUI arrests. So I think their presence makes a big difference with the amount of people that come into the city. Because again, like I said, it allows us to be on foot and do foot patrol and be present for everybody. So other than that, see what else. So tomorrow night, we are going to participate in the National Night Out event up at the school with the fire department. We purchased or rented a dunk tank, and Officer Schultz has volunteered to sit in that. So that should be fun. And then August 15th to the 18th, Intel has asked us to participate in the Intel picnic up at Cedar Ridge. So plan on doing that it's like 4 hours a day for those days. So.
And they give them a huge donation.
Yes, they do.
Participate.
Just set up a booth, hand out swag, bring a
Stickers.
patrol vehicle down there, let their employees kind of see what it looks like. Hop in the back, let the kids hop in the back seat and,
Play prisoner.
Cuffs on.
yeah. No, we won't put any cuffs on.
What time does that get started tomorrow night at, Sean?
I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
6?
Yeah, I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Bring your squirt gun.
They did get some to pass out to kids. The fire department did.
I got
Go ahead, Dale.
Mr. Mayor. So I see your traffic stops are way up. Was that a computer glitch? I know you and I had a talk and you were like, well, you knew you personally had more stops than what your previous report had showed.
Right.
So Was that a glitch
No,
or,
that's not a glitch.
so it just,
That's probably the grant.
Yeah, that's for so traffic stops are up because like I said, we have the ODOT grant. So we're out there like a couple hours during our shift, focusing on
traffic?
seatbelts, speed, distracted driving, seatbelts, that kind of stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
The incomplete 911, what's the definition behind that?
That's like somebody accidentally calling 911 and then they hang up. 911 considers that an incomplete. And so they try calling back. And if they don't get any response, then they send us because we need to check to make sure everything's okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to personally thank you for your added effort Saturday night, spending the night here in town now.
Friday night and Saturday night.
Night.
Just camping.
Help Jake out. I appreciate it.
I know the community appreciates it too. Thanks, Sean.
My pleasure.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No ordinances or resolutions. Any correspondence? Well, city administrator report.
Okay. So we're done with paving. 5 Star's done with the SCA paving of the streets. When I wrote the report, we still had to do backfilling. I believe that's done.
They're working on it.
Okay, they're doing it kind of in sections.
It'll be over in another week or two.
Yeah, and then I inquired about the chip seal preparation specs, so I'll get you guys a report and then a map of all the areas that will be chip sealed prior to them coming in September, but Jeff's working on like us writing out exactly what the prep will happen for the different chip sealed streets. We're still aiming for the late August, early September delivery, and Counselor Webb and I believe Counselor Normand are coming up with a date they're available to take the railings off, and because staff will be available any of the days. That's our next step for that, is getting the railings off and delivered up to Topper for them to be able to mount them to our new dock. The ADA project, nothing's really changed with that. You know, they're coming back in 2025. The bids closed. We issued the intent to award and the notice of award to Peel out of Banks. He won again. He was still the low qualified bidder when we went through the formal procurement process. And so once the contract docs are done, they'll be signed and the work will begin. Union negotiations, we're currently waiting the association's response to our First Amendments. He couldn't figure out, he was like, I don't know if it's my computer, I'm not seeing it, so we had to resend some stuff. But that should be done up pretty quick. Lake campground project closure, we've received the 100% drawings along with the phase 1 utility plans. And one thing I wanted to mention in relation to the request from the school district is that you can go for a large and a small. So if council and the Parks Committee and everyone determined the city should go for the large one for the stadium, we could still go for up to 250,000 in the small, which is due a month later in May. If we wanted to do phase 1, 2 of the Lake Campground project, phase 1, we believe will be able to be self-performed. We will lay the electrical conduit, they'll put the water and sewer in. That's something we could probably do on our own with a little bit of survey work and maybe a rental of a machine to get it a start grade, right? Phase 2 would have to be a grant or us raising money. So that, just wanted to say that. The sewer project, the contractor's on schedule with the work per his schedule that he set out at the beginning. Most of the pressure mains in, just needs the welded connections at the bridge. So if you walked by there, you could see a pipe coming out, and pipe in the bracket. They need to be welded together. The pump station and wet well are nearly complete. And then once the next step is transferring that whole system to using the new pump station and the pressure main so that they can disconnect the one going through Rock Creek and make it obsolete. What else? And then we're just moving up Adams and through Park Drive and then all the way through Wellers. DEQ upcoming permit, we requested a push off of our DEQ requirement to answer them because Jeff and Chris were kind of we hit the water line on Adams like 3 times in one day and they just got crunched with Jamboree and everything to get all of the response in that they wanted. They had a partial. So I requested an extension for our comments. And so they gave us till the end of this month to get them our whole comment sheet. So they're still working on that. Related to the Springboard Sewer on Thursday, I did attend the Infrastructure Finance Authorities. I crashed their meeting and presented them with the letter from the mayor requesting that they re-review our application because of the anomaly with the inheritance that kicked us out of qualifying for them to re-review it. I did speak personally to 4 board members and told them the story. One of them was like, is that a real name of the company? It's not just like a bunch of malarkey. And I'm like, no, it's Malarkey Roofing. That was the company. It's a real company. Look it up. It sold for almost $1 billion. And so talked to all of them. They kept trying to feed me drinks and food because they were having a reception. I'm like, actually, no, I'm quite uncomfortable here crashing your party. But they thanked me. And then they had a meeting on Friday morning, their board meeting. As of today, I haven't received anything either way that here's the full financed application for you to sign or we've reconsidered. So we'll just kind of wait. Probably if we get to the end of the week and I haven't heard anything, I'll probably call Melanie and just say, hey, did anything come out of the meeting or did any changes? See what they say. I went over and talked to West Oregon Electric. Colton wasn't in. They had an outage, so he wasn't there. But I sent him a new email basically outlining all of the timing when I first met with Jamie Mullins, so he could maybe look back in the emails and find that stream of exactly what Jamie had proposed. So hopefully Billy said I should get something this week, which is good. And then, just your future upcoming meetings. Do you guys have any questions for me? Yeah.
On the SCA ODOT grant, was there supposed to be a 3rd street in the list? Because it says and blank is.
Oh, no, that was just my brain fart in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
There is, so it's east, north, C. Yeah, it was a lot of the letters. It was everything that was in the thing. At this point, this is what they had done when I turned in my report. But I can get you a list of what was done. Ben's already updated the new streets inventory and their classifications in that, so they show up now as excellent. But yeah, okay.
2 parts on North Street, one up on
Upper,
hill.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the DEQ permit, so just inadvertently, I'm always around the public works crew and I asked Chris,
Yeah.
have you had a chance to look at the numbers, that we were talking about the temperature and the discharge?
Yeah.
Which I told you, I've done the calculations but I want somebody else besides me doing the calculations. Really kind of indicated he hasn't had time.
Yeah.
To sit down and dig into it. So I think we're going to have to carve them out sometime.
Oh, no, we've talked about it. It was all of the things and leading up to Jamboree and Jeff had a week-long vacation mixed in, like they just didn't,
Yeah.
So I told them their new deadline and that you should come sit in here and read it.
Yeah.
Because get away from anybody getting you to do a honeydew, come sit and get a drink and just
Because I mean, and they've got the access to their data to
Yeah.
look at to,
Some of it we know we're good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what they're requiring is what we're already doing. We can keep doing that. It was those two anomalies with the treatment. And then what does it mean? We proved to them that only 50% of the days would be usable to us. Then we asked them to increase it should the river level increase. So they're working on that portion.
yeah.
But yeah, he needs to do some formula playing with formulas to see what it, if this was if this was the load, what does it equal? If this, play around.
And I think there's probably, I know in previous discussions with them, I asked them, what about after the DAF and the disc filter? What are our numbers? And they go, oh, well, we never sample that. You know, they have their regiment that they sample, but they're not sampling exploratory.
Right. They're not running it through the DAF in order to sample it.
Yeah, to kind of see where can we hit.
Yeah.
I mean, don't want to run all our sewer through the DAF and disc, I can tell you.
No.
But we just kind of need some answers to get the overall picture.
Yeah.
Or can we meet this, or are we going to have to push back or look for legal counsel or?
Yeah.
But we can't.
And I
say
sent
that till we know where.
I have sent both of the permit, the original and the draft, to Ruben, and Ruben sent them on to the regulatory person to like this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So everybody's got the documents.
Okay.
But yeah, Chris definitely needs to carve out 3 or 4 days to sit and play with the formulas and figure out what does it really mean real time with our variables.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Okay. And then there was some talk about some of the other cities that have hyper discussions.
I sent emails to the two, to Mosier and Elsie, who I could find there because Elsie's not really a city, but
Yeah.
what they're doing is considered the same kind of hyperic injection system.
Actually a sewer system?
That's what the guy from Regional Solutions said. So I just sent him an email inquiring, are you a person that could help me understand what?
Yeah. Okay.
What is considered an injection well in your system, right? Yeah. So we'll see what they get back to us.
So does that remind me again on when the discharge, the percentage, is it 85% of the discharge that needs to be?
It's a treatment of removing 85% of what the contamination or the solids. Yeah, the load, basically.
That's our goal.
But the problem comes with when it's heavy dilution from rain, it's nearly clean because it's so diluted. The load is so diluted. So they want us to remove 85% of almost nothing to be in compliance. So the more diluted the load gets, the harder it is to treat the percentage. So that's what we're kind of pushing back on them. We used to have an 85-65. And if it was diluted, 65 would be our number because we could hit it and we could remove.
Yeah.
So we told them they're just basically permitting us into a violation state at all the whole time if they do that.
So once the springboard project is complete, will that make a difference? Because
A bit.
It might help out with the.
We don't know what the value will be because really it will stop Clatsop from overflowing, but it won't take it out, that rainwater out of the system till we seal backwards, right?
Okay.
Any water coming in will eventually get to the sewer system without removing the I&I getting into the system to begin with. Does that make sense?
But it'll help that area up there.
Yeah, they won't have the fountain anymore. There will not be there's going to be a safety overflow so that never happens again on that street.
Cool.
So.
Okay. Any other?
No, we just gotta wait for Wet weather to start filling the manholes up.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Joseph.
Sewer in the winter.
So items from the mayor and councilors. I just have one thing. Sven Sandstrom is going to start, in fact, he might have started today. He's going to be pressure washing the cabin and the deck and the ramp.
Yeah.
Moving all the yellow treads and pressure washing and restaining. So he should be done sometime towards the end of next week. So just wanted to let everyone know he's going to be doing that. That's going to be a nice project. And so that's all I have. Any councilors have anything?
So what would be our next steps on considering a grant application? Do we ask you for a report, kind of outlining your suggestion, or does it need to go to parks first?
Well, it's kind of up to you guys. If you want me to bring you more information, like when the deadline would be, they have the match. It would be 20% for a city our size. And if you went for $1 million, it would be a $200,000 match requirement, which they have. So if you want to have me run it by parks, so the grant would be due April 1st of 2025.
Ways off.
So if you want me to take it, or you want Scott or what do you guys, it can be whatever you want. I don't want to go to parks if there's not majority of council in favor, because then I'm just kind of trying to have parks make a decision you guys are going to be against or something. Does that make sense? Okay.
Go ahead, Susan.
So I love the idea of grants. I guess my biggest concern is we've not been successful a couple of times with our grant requests, which have seemed pretty compelling to serve our community. My concern is if looking at the school district and a covered stadium,
Yeah.
that how are they going to look at that as a truly serving the community, not just this. I mean, I understand a lot of people in the community
Yeah.
attend games and they're very involved in that, but that is a much more targeted audience than a campground or a park.
Yeah.
It serves the entire community. I just want to, that's one of my concerns, and I think it's been looked at.
Yeah, and I think that they have to put out the SCORP, right? So the SCORP is the state comprehensive something recreational plan. Anyways, they interview all the communities, and every 3 or 4 years, they produce a SCORP. And you have to have certain marks in that to qualify for the next 4 years of rounds. So I would say we're going to be looking deep into the SCORP of how much do we meet it, right, before, because there's no sense. If we can't make it hit some of the spots, there's no sense in wasting our time asking for money numbers and letters of support and all this stuff. So if you guys want that to be the first thing, is staff look into the SCORP, see how realistic it is, talk to other communities that have used it for a community-wide project, and then how did they sell it, and bring that back to you for you to make a decision before you send it to parks. I can do that.
And the city's going to be the sponsor?
The city would be the applicant, because only municipalities and different groups. I mean, we have been to some where it was like a nature group that bought like a lake that was trying to do like our lake, right? With exercise opportunities. So we just have to dig in, but I could easily dig into what the options are and present that to you guys.
You just need a general consensus.
Yeah, I'll just bring it back to you guys.
Yeah.
And just a quick follow-up, the city is going to be writing this, or is this organization going to be writing it?
Most likely it will be collaborative because there'll be certain things I know they need to hit. And they're going to have the details of like, how many games do people, how many kids are involved in sports that the stadium could use? They're going to have that data, but the wordsmithing and kind of like making sure it hits the scorp would be staff. But it's usually collaborative. We sit at the same computer and rehash, and you save your application until you finally submit it. So everyone kind of blesses the same thing before you submit.
We have a pretty comprehensive application to Ford Family about the project.
So we'd use a lot of that.
Language has already been written by us.
So really, it's just showing Parks and Rec how you meet their criteria. Yeah.
And you're not paying a grant writer to do this, correct? I'm all for it. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So have you guys found any other cities that have successfully gotten the grant specifically to build a school stadium?
No.
Have you looked?
I asked that question of the people that, and I did not get the answer that I wanted. I didn't get a clear
Who's the
answer.
people? that-
There are other schools.
The organization that we contracted with, who suggested we do this, and I asked that question, I didn't get a response that I was looking for. So
When Scott and I went to the last time we presented for the skate park, that skate parks had fallen out of the scorp because we went like 3 years in a row and they denied, and then it was out of the scorp. But at that one, the last one I went to, I think maybe I was by myself.
yeah, I didn't go to the skate park. We were still doing the
Oh, yeah.
close to the fields.
Right, and the big bicycle skills park, that's what we went for.
Yeah.
So they had, one of the $1 million grants was like a refurb of a gymnasium.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to, basically, when I look into it, I'm going to go to the old awards and pull out things that I can say to you guys, they funded, right? Look at the score. Do we meet it? See how feasible it is. Because none of us want to waste our time. I don't want to waste their time if it's not a positive. So I'll bring that back to you to future meeting.
I think we have a general consensus then. Or go ahead, Dale.
And that's just one question.
Yeah.
Are you going to have the time to do this?
That's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have till,
Yeah, we've got a big window, so I think over the winter, you're going to have time.
Three?
With that, if it's feasible and still not a big time suck, is it possible to let us know kind of the timeline you have in your head for the phases of the campground and what do the phases include? What's phase 1 versus 2 versus 3, and when would we complete those? If
And how much?
we're not pursuing a stadium grant, and if we are pursuing a stadium grant.
Oh, if it affects it negative, okay.
Either way.
Yep.
Because I would like to know that, and I think if we take it to parks.
They'll want to know. Yep.
So, yeah, I think that would be helpful to have at the same time,
Yeah.
just so we're considering all the things at once.
Okay, I think we have a general consensus to inquire more information about that, Josette.
Okay. Got it.
So we've already done half our action items, so is there anything else?
Those are the two things.
So no, I got,
I have one more quick thing on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Looks like Dale's. Just to clarify, if we're doing phase 1 mostly ourselves and then we apply for phase 2 and they're not overlapping, can we still use our contributions of phase 1 as our match? Or do they have to be kind of concurrently occurring?
I'd have to dig in for that. I know we were able to use the cat work previous that you did for match in the lake campground design grant, which was previous. So I'm assuming it would still be, it just happened the year before and we got to count it. So I'm assuming if it's just the year before, it'll act like the work is done.
Okay.
Because we can prove it's in our plan. We can prove there's skin in the game. So, but I can check with Mark. I can ask him specifically, like how far out
Yeah.
is your,
Just to make
not
sure
your
we're
kind.
not splitting the phases too far apart and then
Yep.
shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yep, I'll put that on the list to ask him.
Go ahead, Dale.
I'll talk to Donald after the meeting on the docks.
Okay.
Our priority list, since we didn't have the meeting, are we going to still meet on that and go through them? We,
I thought it got sent to you guys, and if you had questions, you could always ask her.
is that where we left that?
That's what my understanding was.
Well, and you'll have another one,
October?
oh, not till October.
October feels right.
It was, and, you know, kind of traditionally, it was that July meeting was reprioritization of the list, remember?
Oh, okay.
And
So if you guys want to pick a different day,
I don't know, I'm just asking the rest of the council. you happy where
I
we're at?
got a list along with their,
I
at the
thought-
workshop, and
I thought after election season, we did it in January.
yeah, we did do it in January, the reprioritization, because if there's new council members, they have the right to be part of the prioritizing.
The
That's what I
first
remember.
month though?
Well, or you,
Yeah.
I don't remember, but you
I don't either.
didn't, you waited until after the election to do it. So it might have been December.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't have
No,
been. It was January or February.
July.
Well, maybe you waited till July with the new people.
I had to look.
I remember getting
I'm game for whatever.
this last month and I looked over it. I think everyone else got their list prior to
No,
that.
they got it, Rick. They're just saying, is it the time when you prioritize,
Workshop.
Right.
The workshop wasn't for re-listing them, it was to get an update.
Right.
And I put updates in the notes, and then you guys were gonna get to me if you didn't like something or if it,
If you
You
had
did.
questions.
Right.
It wasn't to reassign the list.
Well, there's a couple of items I would probably pitch to put on the list, which we have talked, and it's kind of open, we can do that, but
yeah.
makes it kind of awkward.
If you guys are wanting one before October, just schedule it. I'll re-up the list and we can add whatever. If you're thinking you want to talk about it, or if you want to wait till January and do the adding, like new projects, or I'm whatever you want. It doesn't bug me either way.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. Summer, it's no time like the present.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. If you want to pick a workshop Wednesday or something, go over them again and add to them.
Do you want us to bring she can do the date thing at your next meeting or?
Yeah, and I guess we need to kind of look at what was the date we did the reprioritization of them.
Okay.
If you want to do it, you guys can do it. There's nothing telling you you can't. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, we're not
You're the
bound
boss.
to do it once a year.
Right, we did it once a year. and
If it feels-
seems like we forgot when we did it, so I just,
There's going to be several things that will be removed.
I'll report back. How's that?
She'll figure out when it was.
Yeah.
maybe if you could
Dates.
research and see when
You
we,
guys bring dates to the next meeting that you're not available so that maybe if you want to do one, you can schedule
It'll
it.
be September or the end of August.
Yeah.
Before we could have the meeting.
September, okay?
no, I'm fine.
Bring dates.
Beginning of September is kind of,
Bring dates on the 19th that you're still, when you wouldn't be available the rest of August,
Yeah, August and September. 'Cause
Will do.
if it doesn't work for
everybody.
everybody, then we'll just have to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Another item. It's only because I had a relative that was involved in the paving project, but it did kind of spur a thought,
What's the thought?
is should we be having a post review of the paving projects? One, looking at the quality of the work, which we're going to need somebody that has good expertise some of it, I think, is educating people before the project. Your street's on the list. I mean, you put door hangers, but we're already getting some complaints like, why is the street this narrow? Well, they don't realize that all the rock that's going to go down next to it, and then it'll look twice as wide time you do that.
They probably, if they really looked at where the right of way is, Dale, they wouldn't want the street full width.
Well, and there's some of that.
There's going to be a whole bunch of their front yards.
But it's kind of lack of knowledge going in, and then people start going off, and then, it's just trying to get ahead of some of these things. And I think it's an educational process, but also
So like,
how well does the contractor we select work with homeowners? I mean, you were well aware of my stepdaughter.
did the contractor
She was
not,
wanting to get hers done. I told her who the contractor was as soon as you guys told me. She
Yeah.
made contact.
Yeah.
And just would not happen.
they were
I
not,
need to talk to her more, just exactly what all she did. But it was really, I thought that was very odd that when you're in town paving something that
But-
side work makes.
it does, except that I think they were sending, the reason I know some of it didn't happen or what aprons couldn't happen is because they were only sending so many trucks of hot asphalt. And so they, a lot of times have the slop, right? They have extra in the truck that they're like, oh, we got to get rid of this. And then that's when they do people's aprons. They did, I don't believe they brought out any surplus. So the one day people,
That would be.
but that isn't like, when we contract with them,
Right.
we contract for the streets, not that they'll bring more out for the citizens. If this, I don't know how we could force them.
I know some people reached out and got denied because they didn't have their stormwater addressed first.
Oh,
So I heard back from some people that they got denied because they wouldn't be able to get their stormwater addressed for the asphalt.
before
So
they
they're
got
just
there.
not doing it.
Oh. And then I did have a couple calls, one that was like, whoever's paving is fantastic. They came and educated me on exactly what was happening. So I had some good. I hadn't
Yeah.
heard the bad, or the not being able to do the aprons, but I don't know, I don't know how we force them to agree to participate unless, because you couldn't guarantee them enough people would want to do it.
Right.
So it's like weird.
Well, I'm not totally clear on our bidding rules. Do we have to take the lowest bid,
The lowest qualified bid.
lowest qualified? We're required by law to do.
Yeah, they meet our criteria and they're qualified. They-
If we have contractors that come in and really, I mean, again, comparison job to job. I mean, that's got to be something that we have to consider.
But it would only be the job they're doing for the city.
Right. Yeah, the job for the city.
Okay. Do you think something,
I don't know. I think interacting with our fellow citizens though in the city, I think is also of value. It's also important.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I was just thinking for future contracts, I mean, each one, if we get different ones and then we do this post review,
yeah,
kind of get a score. If we get in there but I mean, if we're forced by law to go to the lowest bid, well, that's what it is.
but I guess if it wasn't someone you knew, would you think it was warranted for us to pick a contractor or not pick them because they wouldn't pave someone's apron? I would feel like it isn't. Like, even if it was me, if they weren't going to do mine, that's not what they're contracted for, right? I don't know. I worry a little. I'm all for the information and sending them a letter. Hey, here's a map of the streets that are going to be done. Your house is on the list, and give them some details. We are not paving the full 60 feet. We can afford to pave what's already paved. Right. We will be putting shoulder rock. Give them all the information. I'm more than happy to do that if people felt like they were caught off guard. But we had a few people that called and was like, I want my driveway done, and da-da-da. And we're like, okay, well, that's not us. You got to Yeah, communicate yourself, and then that's an agreement between you two. We're just here to do this. So, I don't know.
Maybe this is a discussion for another
Well, I mean, no,
time. Or
for all this, whether we want to set up anything or not, I don't know. That's why I'm bringing it up, whether,
Or maybe you guys think about it and we're not paving for another years.
To me, it just sounds like maybe there needs to be more time between the notification and the paving so that if people can get it lined up, great. I don't know.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I would send a notice out saying, here's the contractor that was awarded this job. Here's the job they're going to do for us. And then that's really on them, because if they do a bad job for that person, we can't be involved. If they do a great job for that person, we
I
can.
mean, just to give people more time so that if they do need to get something addressed,
Yeah,
or if they're feeling frustrated, not because there was a clear reason why they were denied, but just because it didn't happen and it didn't come to fruition by the time the job was done, right? So
yeah.
if there was a longer cushion there,
But
maybe
I
that would
think-
help.
a little bit of a tricky point is we can't require the contractor. It's like no shoes, no shirt, no service. They're an entirely separate entity who could just not want to do that.
Right.
And then would we not hire them to do our streets, saying, we could, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's getting into where we're going to be vouching for somebody doing a job that we're not contracting them to do. And what if they do a horrible job? I don't know.
yeah.
Seems like a nightmare.
I mean, it just seems because, Brettenauer, man, they're no problem doing
Right.
side job, man. They're right on it.
Right.
They don't have it.
But I think
I mean, they're doing.
that's great,
all over the place here.
but it can't be a reason we wouldn't pick somebody that's willing to do everything we've asked, but maybe isn't willing to do what the citizens want while they're out here. Does that make sense? We didn't pick Brettenauer even knowing they would do it. Great, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
They're willing to work with people, but I don't know.
It's not part of their requirements. So it's one thing if we notice people who are going to get their street paved, say, okay, this is roughly when we're expecting this to happen. This is the contractor who's going to be working here, and these are our requirements for you. So remove your vehicle. So this is what's to be anticipated. We can't say you should reach out to them because they might come pave your thing as well, because then we get into some ethics issues of trying to get them side gigs. So it's one thing for us to say, hey, this is to be anticipated within a month.
And leave it up.
Different for us to say, hey, you should reach out to them and try and get a deal.
I mean,
So
most people in this town, I mean, I'm the same with me. Brettenauer's doing my private driveway this year.
Yeah.
Usually there's economy of scale when a contractor's in town. People want to tag into that.
Right.
It's a value to our citizens that the contractors that we're using, if they provide that extra service,
Yeah.
they're paying the bill, they're doing their own contracts,
Yeah.
but it is a value there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she got bids, but.
Yeah.
But it was very odd that 5-Star just didn't even seem
Well-
entertained wanting to do it, but then I see one block down, they did. So I'm like,
Well, and that's why I think
and she was contacted them as soon as we heard.
maybe we're getting involved in a situation that really isn't up to council because somebody's family member, I'm sorry, but somebody's family member is really upset that somebody got theirs done and not somebody else. Whereas if it was just some other citizen who we don't know what the interaction was, I don't know that the city can pick a contractor for a $200,000 $250,000 job because somebody got upset because they couldn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
We have to follow the requirements for selecting the contractor. I mean, when people call us upset about it, we explain what's going to happen with the shoulder rock, and we point out maybe congratulations for getting your road paved. Because look at all these other places that don't have a fresh pavement on their road. I mean, some of these streets are ones that we couldn't even been paved 5 years ago because they're dead ends that go nowhere.
Right.
So we're able to branch out to these other streets that were always denied. And now it's awesome, this dead end street's getting paved.
Yeah.
So it's tricky and it sucks, but I don't know that it's council's role to get into the nitty gritty with somebody who got upset. Sorry, that's my podium talk.
Yeah.
I understand. I empathize.
Susan, you have something to say?
Yeah, so I am a little concerned with your suggestion that we are going to do follow-ups to contracts any differently than we always have, because it's never appeared to have been an issue. Josette's job is to do the contract, make sure it's followed up, make sure it's done properly, and that's her job. If there's problems, she brings them to us. Again, the contracts we draw, or the city draws with the contractors, are very specific. And I appreciate everybody's comments that it isn't, it can't be part of the expectation that maybe they'll help another, somebody else. If I'm having work done on my home, I certainly don't expect that guy to still want to do my next door neighbor's house because he's my contractor. And I just think it's a mistake to, again, it's not our job at this point. If there are issues and they're brought before council, yes, but not in this situation. I
Or if you think there's something wrong with the road that I didn't see, please let me know. I mean, Rick pointed out C Street. Yeah, the seams look weird because it's different colors, but the thickness and the functionality of the road and the smoothness is there. It's just they stop, start, stop. I mean, it looks funky. It's not a pristine black thing, but there's not a divot in between the where they're joined. I went and looked at it.
Yeah.
So I do. Thanks for bringing that up. But if there is something you guys see is wrong outside of like a citizen having an issue with their personal property, then I want to know that.
And if a citizen has a problem with an issue, shouldn't that be going to you as city council or as city administrator, not to city council? That's not our job.
Right. Until it warrants some, you guys decide that you want to hear it or take it on or whatever. Well, you're the boss, you're the big bosses.
Thanks, Dale.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? Any other councilors? Okay. Action item again?
Action items. So we're going, staff's going to look into the score, other types of awards that match that, some more data, talk to if there's any other communities, like I'll call the places that got the gymnasium redone and how did that go and how did they do it. We're going to be looking at, in relation to that, whether the lake campground now into the future, how that would play out. And Grant asks, can the in-kind work count? How far away from the grant request? And then bring you guys back options for reprioritizing the project list data from Stephanie of when we did that. Anything I missed?
Thank you again, all for attending, especially Micah.
She was going to do topics from the floor.
Well, I'll adjourn this meeting let's adjourn it at 8:08 PM. Meeting adjourned.